All right, we're ready to roll.
Hello and welcome back to Intimate Wisdom. I'm Frans, Sharon's husband, and today we are going to do a bit of a role reversal because you can't really interview yourself. And today we're going to be discussing Sharon's healing journey, Sharon's wisdom, as she's got plenty of that. So, okay, Sharon, with regards to your healing journey, where would you like to start? How would you like to start to explain your healing journey and how did it develop and how did it go where it went?
Okay. All right, well, I was born in Inglewood and in 1958, July. I'm a firstborn baby, 1st of July. And, and I was born into a very, very dysfunctional family. There was a lot of violence, a lot of alcohol, a lot of abuse on all levels. And we're starting to get a little bit emotional. My mum was just an amazing, amazing soul, and I still even think about her today because she's passed. But I think about the gift that she gave me of empathy, be empathetic. And my younger sister Deborah May, she was born a year after me, and her and I were like peas in a pod. Her and I were just best of buddies. We were the best of friends, and she died, and I miss her so much. But anyway, so Deb and I, we were honeymoon babies, and we were born into a family where our dad was so violent. I had 2 younger siblings later who were born in a different time, and they were planned babies. However, so as a 4-year-old kid, as a child, we were visiting my grandma in Waitara, because by then we were living in Tokoroa. But we were visiting my grandma in Waitara, and I was sitting on a window seat, and I had 2 aunties on either side of me, and I heard the gate squeaking, and I just, curious 4-year-old kid, looked out the window, and I just said, oh, there's a lady sitting on the gate, and she's waving to me, and she was just beautiful. And my auntie said, or even my grandma said, who is it? And so they all looked out the window, and they could see nothing. And my grandma said to me, well, what does she look like? And I said, and so I described her to her. She had a long flowing gown, and she had a cap on that looked like a shower cap. It was all in white. You know what? She slapped me. And she said, that's my mother you're talking about. And it's like, that's when I first learned that you don't talk to people about spirits. And I used to see spirit a lot as a child. And because of the dysfunction, I started school, and I just remember very clearly the dysfunction. The beatings were horrific. I was always terrified when Dad would come home because we didn't know what kind of mood he would be in. So, and Mum would never get hit. He would never hit Mum, but he would always hit us kids. And I remember how I had this amazing ability to shift out of my body. Like I could go into a catatonic state, and I would take myself up to Creator or in amongst the angels. And there was heaps and heaps of people up there, and I'd go up and play. And there was a time when I did go there. I was at school, and my teacher had just told me off. She had actually strapped my hand. And that to me I felt so unsafe. And I felt violated, even by my teacher, my school teacher. So anyway, I went into this I just left. I just went up the top, up to upstairs. And I remember it was a Friday, and the teacher, her name was Mrs. Bruce, and she came to visit my parents, and she said, look, Mr. and Mrs. Webster, there's something really wrong with Sharon. She goes into a catatonic state, and I can't get her out. So Mum and Dad took me to the doctor, and I went to Hamilton, and they put all of these plugs all over my head. And the doctor said to me, I'm going to measure your brain pattern, Sharon. And he said, I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to go to your safe space. So that's what I did. I went off to my safe space. I went off upstairs and had said hello to all of my friends up there. And of course I was in a catatonic state, but what had happened was I was misdiagnosed with epilepsy, because apparently if you go into a catatonic state like that, it mimics epilepsy. So I was 7, and I went on to a barbiturate, which was called phenobarbital. So from the age of 7 to 12, I have absolutely no memory, bar 3 weeks, when Mum had my baby sister, and she had her in Hamilton, and because we were taken care of by the lady across the road, Mrs. Walker didn't give me my pill every morning. So for 3 weeks, I was lucid. I had all my feelings, and I could interact with people and not feel like I was some sort of zombie. And that was when the Waihine disaster happened. So that was back in, it was 57 years ago. Yeah, so, and in that time, so then I was back home again, and I was 10 years old when Mum had my baby sibling. And I remember waking up one morning and Mum wasn't up. She wasn't up at all. And the other kids were in bed. And I smelt this strange smell. It was like a metallic smell. And my gut instinct told me to go and check Mum. So I went into the room, and she looked like she was sound asleep. But the smell got stronger and stronger as I got closer to her, and I just pulled the blankets back, and the whole bed was just covered in blood. It was just blood everywhere. So I just panicked, and I didn't know how to use a telephone back then, because back in those days it was a landline. Yeah, well, like a, what do you call them? Party line.
Landline.
Yeah, 3 or 4 different
people
on the phone. Yeah. Anyway, so I ran across the road. Mrs. Walker came over, and she rang the doctor. The doctor came in, and I think they took Mum away for overnight. And that's when I started learning to cook, and started cooking and learning to cook at 10. I was a 10-year-old kid, but my intuition told me that something was horribly wrong. So. So anyway, I ended up taking care of my babysitter for a number of years, because Mum, she'd hemorrhaged, and she'd had postnatal depression, seriously, really serious. So I actually took care of all the kids. So it was a really interesting time. But at the same time, there was still all the abuse going on at home too. Sexual abuse was a major part in my life. And then consequently, as a teenager, I got rebellious. I was on drugs, alcohol. I was a party girl, and angry, just so angry, and just so mad at the whole world. And so I got pregnant at 18, had my eldest girl. Then I was married and had my next child, and I'm miscarried another one at the age of 27. So and then by the time I was 33, I was in another relationship at the time, and I noted Dad starting to touch the granddaughters, and so my sibling, my Deborah, and I made a decision to go and have a talk to the police about what Dad was doing. And he was arrested, and he went to jail. But what happened from that point was, and I was 33 years old, and that was a huge awakening time for me, because I had a complete mental breakdown, lost it completely, and I lost my partner, I lost my kids, I lost my home, I lost everything.
And the whole family basically turned against you, I gather.
Yeah. I had nothing.
Well, you always had something, but...
Well, I didn't know that at the time, though, eh? Yeah, it was amazing how I didn't realise at the time. I knew that something was horribly wrong with me. I was sick. I was broken.
Yep, you were, and that's okay, because then you can rebuild, eh? And so then the fun starts.
Yeah, so I still can feel that time, even though I'm not attached to that energy, but I still feel it.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm so lucky to be alive, that I'm so lucky to be here. I'm so lucky that I've had all these amazing experiences. Anyway, so I found out my best friend, get this, my best friend and my partner went to my doctor and said, oh, Sharon's just completely lost it. She's sick. She needs to be put into hospital. So they were going to have me sectioned. And I had 7 days. They were going to get me up. I had 7 days. All I knew. What my best friend did was she rang her father in Perth and said, oh, look, Sharon's gone nuts and we're going to have her put into hospital. And so her father rang me and he says, Sharon, he says, look, I'll tell you what, he said, if you don't get out of there now, kiddo, they're going to get you. So get on a plane and he says, and get out of there. So I did. I bought a one-way ticket and went to Australia because I had nothing. I had nothing to lose because I'd lost everything. So I bought a one-way ticket. I took one bag and I think I had $4,000.
Cool.
Yeah. And that changed my life. Because I believe that had I been hospitalised, I don't believe that I would have been here today.
I don't know. I think you're quite a strong lady, so.
Well, I
think you would have found a way between you, me, and the gatepost.
Yeah.
But make a long story short, so when you got to Australia, you had some other things happening.
Yeah.
You started really looking at yourself and bettering yourself because of the right guidance and the right people that you run into. So how did that work for you?
Well, funnily enough, when I got picked up at the airport, I got wet eyes, so I'll have to just give them a bit of a sponge. So a friend picked me up at the airport, and I met a really nice guy over there who got me off the booze. I got off the booze, I got off the drugs, and I quit the party scene because I knew that there had to be something better than what I had. And you know, there was an innate part of me that knew that I did this journey for a reason, but I had no idea what that reason was all about. So anyway, so then I took a bus from Perth to Brisbane to catch up with a lovely friend over there to go and spend a few days with her. And she takes me to this little spiritual church up the back of Brisbane, and it was called the Salisbury Spiritual Church. Well, I'd never been to a spiritual church before in my life. I had no idea what the hell that was about. Anyway, so that particular night, and I love telling this story because, gosh, I still feel the glow inside when I speak about it. The whole centre was full and there was one seat empty, and that seat was in front of me. And so there was a speaker, his name was Kyle. He walks up and he plonks his knees on the seat and puts his arms on the back of it, and he says, "What's your name, love?" And I said, "Oh, Sharon." He goes, And of course he had this funny eye. He had one that looked right at you and the other one that looked across the other side of the room. And he said to me, just look at this eye. And he said, "This one here's keeping an eye on this lot over here." And of course everyone cracked up laughing, and that kind of like diffused the whole situation because I was so scared of what he was going to say. But anyway, he says to me, "You know what?" He says, "You know, Sharon," he says, "you've been to hell and back." And he said, "But you know what? I am not going to take this conversation any further because no one in this room needs to know." He said, "But I do want to have a talk to you after this meeting." And he says, "And my friend Steve's out the back, who was a healer." So anyway, I go out the back afterwards. I was there for over an hour and bawling my eyes out because Kyle was telling me what I had experienced. He told me everything about what my dad had done. And when he told me what I was going to do with that, I didn't believe him. I had no idea that was possible for me. he said, I would heal this. And he says, and then you're going to go on and heal many more.
Cool.
I have.
Good girl.
It's been an amazing journey.
Cool.
What I learned from Kyle was that we are born, we choose our parents, we choose our experiences, we choose our siblings, and everything is signed, sealed and delivered before I'm born. He said, and anything like abuse or anything like that is possible when you're born. He said, but you did sign up for this. He said, your soul has signed up for this. And I said, okay. And it just took me so many years to figure that out. But figure it out I did. So I spent 5 years in Australia, and I went into the outbacks after that because I still felt lost. I still felt broken. Even though I didn't believe Kyle, but, I still felt that there was something there for me to do with all the experiences that I had. So getting off the booze, getting off the drugs, I was still smoking ciggies, and didn't party. Anyway, I got an opportunity to go into the outbacks of Australia, into the Northern Territory, and live amongst the Aboriginals. And that's when I really got in touch with my personal spirituality. And I learned from them the gift of friendship, the gift of compassion, and there's such a loving race of people, all loving people, and it was community, and they all united, together with it. Was this connection and this togetherness, and that's what I'd like, and they were like a family, and I never had that as a child growing up. Even in my marriage I never had that. I didn't have that connection with my children because I was so wounded. I was so so, and I wasn't the best mother, but I don't beat myself about that. I don't beat myself up about that. I don't beat myself up simply because I did the best I could with the tools that I had at the time. And it's been incredible. So, of course, after 5 years, I felt like I had healed enough, and I had this calling to come back home, back to New Zealand. And and the good thing about my breakdown is that I didn't heal from drugs. I didn't have to go to a doctor and get drugs. I went to an AA meeting once. that scared the crap out of me.
That's a bit like a cold sometimes when you.
But it was all a lot of it. I found there was a lot of angry men there. There was a lot of women there too, but they were all sort of. And my instinct said, no, Sharon, this is wrong. This is not where you want to be. So I never went back.
It's right for some. It's not right for others.
Yeah,
and that's cool.
Yeah, it is. So I came home, and I think I'd been home for about 3 months, and I met you.
Yeah.
And you were the first male that I actually trusted because you were at the time a prison officer. So, and I saw you as a strong person, a great guiding person, and you had healing groups and that going at the same time. So you introduced me to hands-on healing and how and you told me things about me that I didn't even know about myself. And you became a really good friend. And for 12 months we were a cup of coffee mates, weren't we? Yeah. And then the emotions started changing, and we lived together for 12 months.
I went on double time 18 months after we met,
Yeah. So, and that's where more of my journey unfolded. I still didn't have any clear direction about what I was going to do with the knowledge that I had and about my journey. And I'd been to counsellors, I'd been to psychologists, I'd even seen a psychiatrist, and nothing sat right. None of it sat right with me. Yeah, and So then you and I got married, and then all of a sudden other things started to happen for me. And like I started seeing spirit again, and spirit communicating with me, and I started seeing colours around people, and it's like, holy shit. All of this beautiful stuff was happening for me, but I still didn't feel good about me. I still felt like I was empathic, but I was still the people pleaser, and I still allow people to abuse me repeatedly, whether it's to use me, abuse me, accuse me of something.
But that's basically quite understandable, because really, if you think about it, your family had rejected you, your friends, your partner had rejected you, so therefore you wanted to belong somewhere. So that's not really surprising.
Yeah, I didn't feel like I fitted in anywhere.
No, I get that.
Yeah, but I fitted with you okay. So I felt safe with you. Yeah, so we got married in 2000, and then Deborah died a few days after we got married.
Yeah, I think it was 10 days or something, wasn't it? Or
we got married on the 14th, and she died on the 26th.
Yeah, okay, yeah, 12 days.
And it killed me inside again. Well, it didn't kill me inside, but
KO'd you.
It kind of, I was angry again, really angry, because she didn't need to die. However, I get it now. But, it was interesting, Franz, because while I was living in Australia, Deb came over to stay with me for a few months. And she said to me one night, she said, yeah, and she called me yeah, because as a little girl she could never say Sharon. So she would always call me yeah, right all through her life she called me yeah. So anyway, one night she says yeah, and I said, yep, what's up, Debs? And she says, can you tell everybody our story? And I said, about us, about what happened to us. And I said, yeah. She said, I don't know that I'm going to live a long life. I don't feel like I'll live a long life. I don't feel safe. I'm afraid all the time. But she said, you're so strong, which I wasn't. Well, I didn't think I was strong. Obviously I was.
Well, in comparison to her, perhaps.
In comparison to her. And I had a sense then that I was losing her. But I didn't get it then until she died. But she made me promise to tell our story.
And you did.
And I did. But not in a way that everybody expected me to tell my story. I wanted to tell my story on a positive level, because I wanted to help people heal from trauma, from unresolved wounds or unhealed wounds, from harm, from the hurt. And I've devoted my life since her death for the cause of helping people heal. Yeah. And look at the work that we've done in those years. I'm truly grateful for all of my experiences now.
Good.
All the harm, all the hurt, the brokenness.
But the thing is, you got to also think about the fact that you went through all this hell in order to learn certain things that we can actually, as a lifeline, can throw out to other people, and if they want to use it, they can.
Yeah.
And if you look at it that way, it's all, whatever we go through is always worth it.
I'm in a place now where I'm just so happy, and I feel safe, and I feel worthy. I feel strong. I feel immense, actually. Good. Yeah. Good. And you and I, when we bought the bus and we started travelling all around the country, we went to town to town to town, and we did workshops, and we're doing retreats. We're still doing retreats, and I'm loving that, because the content of those retreats is all about healing, connection, and stepping into personal power.
That's right. And isn't that awesome?
I love it. Absolutely loving it. And and even though I got a little emotional at the beginning, I can speak about the journey without attachment to it. I can go into it without feeling it or feeling the pain.
You feel it, but you don't lose yourself in
I don't lose myself in it, and that's why I want to educate. That's why I feel like as a spiritual educator, I want to be able to help people get to that place. Yeah. I'm 67 years old now.
Young.
I'm 67 years young.
There you go.
3 years shy of being 70, and I feel like I've lived this life, and as painful as it was sometimes, it's amazing. And I feel friggin' amazing for it. Yeah. And I think the first 8 years after Deb's died, I missed her so much, because I didn't have a sister. I didn't have a family. I had nothing.
Yeah, now you got dozens.
Now I've got lots of sisters everywhere. Lots of beautiful things. And I've met this lovely lady who I really believe that Deborah had a hand in her coming into my life. Because she's just like Deb's. She talks like her, she laughs like her empathy is just like Deb's. And I keep on hearing her, and so that's I'm really grateful for the journey and for the people I've met. And what's interesting also is how I stopped being the people pleaser and stopped wanting to fit in and stopping and wanting to rescue people from their pain, because that's what I was doing, rescuing, and it was how would I describe it?
Rescuing doesn't work.
It didn't work for me.
Never does.
And it hurt like hell when people would say, well, you can just go and get stuff, Sharon Bakker. It's like, what did I do? What did I do wrong? What the hell did I do? Anyway, you and I were living up at Whitianga, and 2023 we got an opportunity to come back to Taranaki, and we did that. And something happened one night where we were staying, and something was said to me, or that a person was saying some heinous things to me that were unprovoked, unnecessary. And I thought, where is this coming from? And I was so rooted in fear that I wet myself. I'm 65 years old and I wet myself. And I came back to the bus, because we live in a bus. Came back to the bus and I didn't quite make it to the toilet and I pooed myself. The shock, I think, just was loose and it was horrible, and I had to get myself cleaned up.
It was what they sometimes describe as a time warp. You were basically, because of what was said, transported back to when you were a little girl.
And it was. Yeah, I felt like that little girl, so afraid. And that was only 2.5 years ago. And I had to get help. I had to go and get some help to help me through that. And I wasn't a psychologist. It was actually a very lovely spiritual lady who helped me through. And even though you tried everything you could to help me, and because you're my husband and you're too close to the situation, I just couldn't get my head around it. So I went and got help with this lady.
It's a little bit like the old story, since when do wives listen to their husbands?
Yes, I hear that all the time.
Yeah.
Funny that. Yeah. But anyway, I went and got help, and it's what I learned from what happened in that situation was that it took me back to being a 6-year-old child, when Dad would stand over me and say the same things. So what was said to me that night, and it was the 13th of May, and I'll never ever forget it, what was said to me was what my father said to me as a 6-year-old child, and I wet myself and I pooed myself, and then he beat the crap out of me for doing it. He beat me for it. So and it was just so, that feeling of humiliation, of shame, of being in total fear and just not being in control of your emotions, your bodily functions for starters. It was terrifying. So from there, that's when I learned that year and early part of 2024, you think it's only last year, is that I learned not to people please anymore, and that I learned that I didn't have boundaries, and the ones I did have in place were leaky. But I learned to put boundaries in place, and I actually was able to show up, stand up, speak up, and it created a few issues with people, and people have fallen away. But what's happened from that, it's made room for all the goodness to come in, because I feel whole again and I feel complete. And now this journey that I'm on now is, I am just so grateful and so appreciative of your support, but also the support of the people who love me for me. They love me, and I have never felt that before until I did this healing with Lisa. And I'm so grateful.
Cool.
Because I feel whole. Yeah.
Cool.
And, during my healing journey, we founded the Spiritual Awakening Healing Retreats, didn't we?
We did.
And we love them, don't we? We just love doing those. We founded that in 2009. We're doing another one in March next. We did one March this year. We're doing one at the end of January next year. We're doing one in Hawaii 2027. How lucky are we?
Yeah.
Created intimate wisdom.
Yeah.
Created psychic high teas. I love creating, and I always think outside the square, and I see ideas, and I always believe that when spirit brings in an idea, or creator brings in an idea, they'll give me the tools in order to bring that out. So and that's my journey.
Cool.
Yeah.
And it is not over yet.
No.
Lots more fun to be had.
I believe that too. I really do believe that. So with all the workshops and the retreats that we've done a lot of healing workshops. We've helped people overcome their grief, trauma, their wounds. Even though I was going through still healing, I still feel that we can, even though we're healing, we can still help others heal too.
Absolutely.
Because
that's our job. That's our.
Yeah.
But somebody told me about some high teas that you're doing at the moment. So tell me about those high teas.
Wow. I remember back a time when we were living in Taranaki first in New Plymouth, and you and I had an idea of doing psychic suppers. And we would get groups of people together, get some lovely healers and readers, and we'd and sell tickets to groups of people. They come in and get an experience. They'd be speaking to healers, they'd be speaking to gifted clairvoyants, mediums, psychics, and even people that created lovely products like, they had crystals to sell. And it was so, and it was a lot of fun. And then things changed. Back in 2000, that my mum died in 2010. Yeah, she died of cancer. In 2011, we hosted a retreat, and we met a lady there. And I really liked her because I've got this, I see the potential in people. And it's got me into trouble so many times, hasn't it?
All the time.
All the time. Gets me into trouble. I see the potential in people, and I want to help them, and I want to help them bring it out. And I love people.
They call that rescuing.
And rescuing, exactly. And this woman was I'm not going to mention any names because this is a public forum, but what she did was she was quite vivacious, and she was very charismatic. And gosh, when she spoke, she held everyone's attention, captured everyone's attention, and it was kind of like a show, I guess. When I look back at it now, it was quite a show. Anyway, but I really liked her. But you had your reservations about her, and so did other people, but I liked her. But anyway, I remember once she asked me a question about something, so I gave her the answer of what I was feeling at the time, and Spirit is never wrong, eh? Anyway, what happened then was, now this woman was quite nasty. I had no idea she had it in for me. Stringing me along like that, and then tells publicly a lie of something that I said, and it absolutely again destroyed me. So I said to Creator, this is what spiritual people do. You know what? You could jam it up your...
But it was actually an incorrect statement. It wasn't a spiritual action, so it wasn't done by a spiritual person.
No, and that's, took me a long time to get that. 3 months I plummeted into the deepest depression, and that was 2011, and I gave up my spiritual work for many years. But then I came back into it.
Yes.
Yeah, but I came back stronger and stronger and stronger.
It's the intention.
Yeah.
So you still haven't talked to us about the high teas, though.
Oh yeah. Oh shit. Sorry. Yeah, I deviated. Sorry. Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, the high teas. Right. So, so we were doing these wonderful high teas, and then I gave up the spiritual work for a while, and then we went back into it, and I don't know how it actually... Can you recall how it all came about?
Well, you come up with this idea to do a high tea, and we thought first along similar lines like what we used to do with the psychic suppers. But that idea actually through Spirit was changed into making it intimate. So now it is just us running it, you and me.
Yeah. Well, because now the other thing too, and I just need to bring this in too, is as a 2-year-old child, and my mother told me this, is that Dad beat me so bad that I was bleeding from my mouth, my nose and my ears. And Mum said I was a little rag doll for about 3 days, and she was too scared to take me to the doctor because she knew what would happen. She said I was black and blue. So she brought me back, and she helped me heal. But when they did this plugging as a 7-year-old kid to find out why I was going into catatonic state, they found also that I'd had a little bleed, and they pinpointed it back to when I was about 2 or 3 years old. And so what they said is that it rewired itself, and my responses to things can be a bit slower than other people. I always used to believe that I wasn't really smart, that I wasn't really clever. I never passed school certificate. I was a dunce at school. But then there was all that stuff going on at home too. But you've always said to me,
so you missed the basics.
Missed all the primary stuff.
But high teas.
Anyway, so now trying to remember. So I'm just telling that story because I'm trying to remember how we got to the high teas, and so that's my memory. I don't have that cognitive memory of how that came about. Maybe it might have been when I saw some beautiful fine china, or anyway, so we got talking about that, and we decided, let's just do this. And it's intimate, and it's very special. So we did one over in Gisborne just a few weeks ago, and it was amazing, and we're going back and doing another one, and I've got other parties booked now. So you and I, we're going to do this together, and what we're doing is affecting change in people's lives,
and positive change, we hope.
And we've got beautiful fine china, and we've got 3-tiered plates and beautiful food, and we get to do spiritual exercises with everyone. So we give them a mini reading. It's
a really intimate way of learning about spirituality and growing into spirituality, whichever is the most priority.
And I love it. I just love it. And I get to get all dressed up, and I get to be posh. Or we get to be posh. And people...
Usually you live as posh.
and people, we invite people to come along all poshed up. if they want to, and they're eating posh food off very posh china and drinking out of posh, fine
Teacups.
china teacups. Yes, and it's very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very nice.
It's a good atmosphere, and it is. I think you can take things a lot deeper than what we used to do with the psychic suppers.
Yes, yeah. And it's more private because you haven't got large numbers of people, because we'll take no more than 10, because it's very intimate, very private, and we have lots of laughter, lots of tears, but at the same time, while you and I are there, we get to hold them. We get to hold space for them, but we also get to hold their hands, and we get to give them a cuddle if they're upset about something, if they need to.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about the being one-to-one with people. It's why I like doing the healing groups and doing the psychic groups, that the retreats, because you're actually with the person or with the people. Yeah. And it's not something, I'm not comfortable with doing groups like this online, because I can't hold them.
No.
And that's why I want to go back.
That's our preference.
That's our preference.
What other people do is what they do.
That's right. Yeah. And for some it works. Yeah, and that's great. But for me, probably because of my experiences, is that I'd rather be held.
Same here.
Be seen and heard. Yeah, to be seen and heard.
Same here.
Yeah. And the other thing that I want to get going is an educational program, a spiritual educational program, especially for people who are just coming into it. Yeah. And more advanced,
Yeah, whatever is required.
Whatever is required, yeah. So that is, yeah. But I believe now that I've done this journey, I believe now that I came back to break the cycles of abuse, and especially with I can't remember that. I can't think of the name. See, my brain just
Stop talking about your brain. It's fine.
Yeah, okay. It's the ancestral lineage. Okay, so see, my father was, his father was Māori, and my great grandfather is Hawaiian. But I believe something happened to Dad between the age of 0 and 7, because he was born in 1933, 35. He was born out of wedlock. His mum couldn't take care of him, so he was given back to the father's family, and then he came back to my grandmother, or back to his mother, when he was 7. And because she married then, and so Dad was, but by then, whatever damage was done in that age. It was interesting that Dad went back to his mum at 7, and I started my journey of not knowing who I was at 7. But the interesting thing too, Franz, is that before that happened, I had an experience where I got lifted up upstairs, and I got held by a man in gold, and he told me that I was about to go on to a journey, and that I will be safe, I will be okay. And I'm picking that within weeks I was on phenobarbital from that journey. And I'll never forget that experience either. Yeah. And now I'm still seeing spirit. I hear spirit. I have a beautiful guide with me. Her name is Nanook, and she's quite a force to be reckoned with. She's very forceful, and she's a great healer, but she's a great speaker too, and she comes through very strong, and she doesn't muck around. And she didn't muck around with me either.
She doesn't.
No.
It's good.
No. So, yeah. But anyway, so now I believe that healing the ancestral lineage, I'm healing my family, even though they may not be aware of that. And I'm healing the future generation. By healing myself, I'm healing my lineage, but I'm also healing the future of
Breaking the cycle.
breaking the cycles. And because I did speak up, and I have speaking up, and I'm still speaking up, and I'm still speaking up on behalf of Deborah, because the retreats we host in honour of her.
Well, there's plenty of Deborahs and plenty of Sharons in the world, so they need help.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. And that promise I made to Deb, I will keep doing that. Yeah. So, yeah. But I'm happy.
Well done.
I'm really, really happy.
Wait. All we have to do now is wait for the rest to evolve.
To unfold, and I'm so excited about that because I've got all these ideas flooding in, and I actually spoke with a business coach, and she said to me, Sharon, woo, 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 calm the farm. One idea at a time. Bring them out one at a time. Do your research, do your homework, make sure you've got it, in a place where you want it, and then launch it.
Yep.
Okay, and that's what I've been doing, and it's working. And then I spoke with a marketing consultant who was just absolutely amazing. I started that in Whitianga, and then I carried on with someone over in Gisborne, and then someone in Auckland, and all of these people have been just giving me so many wonderful tips, tricks, and ideas on how I can tell people what we're doing, and it's working.
Yeah.
It's hard work, but it's working. I love it.
It's not really hard work.
Well, no, it's not hard work.
It's fun.
Well, the hard work is just, just using my brain, and I get really tired very quickly. But I love using my brain the way I do. Yeah.
And it's working fine.
Yeah. Well, you keep telling me that it's fine, that there's nothing wrong with my brain.
No, but you can't all be the same. Everybody thinks in a different way. Somebody who's very mathematical will think in a certain way. Somebody who's very artistic will think in a total different way.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that anyone is better than the next. They just think differently.
Yeah.
That's how you got to look at it.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. And sometimes, it's like we had lunch with a friend yesterday, and I was talking to her about something, and then she said, "Oh, but Sharon, do you think that this is how?" It's like I remember Kyle saying to me, "Oh, Sharon, you're going to be speaking in front of lots and lots of people." And I said to a friend, "Oh, well, it hasn't really happened. I bet I do that." She goes, "Sharon, what do you think YouTube is?" And I went, "Oh, okay."
That was me, by the way.
Oh, that was you?
Yes, sorry.
Oh, was it? Oh, I thought it was our friend.
No, it was me, sorry.
Oh, right. Oh, okay.
But she did agree with me.
But she agreed with you. Oh, that's right. Okay. So there we go. See, there's confusion again. But anyway, and I realised that I forgot about this platform. That there are many platforms that I can speak from.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we do the Sunday lives as well.
The Sunday lives, yes.
And that's another way, another platform. We reach a lot of people, and
it's
that's
growing.
Our job.
And it's growing.
Our job.
I feel like that is part of, because when we do those lives, I always make sure that I do the research, and I make sure that all the facts are there. So is that because we're working with people, we're working with feelings and emotions, and we're working with humanity. So I need to make sure that everything is correct.
Well, correct is sometimes perhaps a really difficult thing because certain things haven't been invented yet. And yes, I wouldn't worry too much about that as long as you know there is some research that proves the point. Then
yeah, that's right. Well, scientific speaking.
I mean, there's always other people who will come up with a different idea afterwards.
Probably, yes, yeah. But that's all about the growth, and evolution.
All about evolution and growth.
And so
evolving.
And I just feel that my growth now is my net is widening. With our journey.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
And you're doing great.
And I feel great. I feel great with it. Yeah.
Cool.
So I'm so honoured to have had this experience.
Good.
And to be able to heal from it and say, it doesn't matter how bad things can get, it doesn't matter how bad you might be feeling, what situations can change. And if we take a look at what am I learning from this, what is it I need right now, how am I feeling?
Exactly.
Then we get in touch with who we really are, and what are our needs, and what am I not giving myself?
That's right.
And I first had to look at self-love and self-compassion. Yeah, and stop giving so much of myself away.
That's right.
I gave 90% of myself away and kept 10% of myself, and it just doesn't work.
No.
It's
got to be equal.
It's got to be equal, yeah.
And when you give a lot, you've got to be ready to receive a lot.
Well, that's something else now that I'm learning. I've only learned that this year. 67 years old, and I've only learned to receive now. Yeah, to be open to receiving. I can give, and I had to be open to be received. To receive, yeah.
Right.
Wow. So the retreats, the workshops that we want to do, the high tea, the psychic high teas, the lives, and our YouTube channel. We have got a whole world to discover in our spiritual work.
Yeah, absolutely. We're doing fine. We're going our speed.
Yeah,
it's all good.
Yeah. Well, we just, and I haven't, even though at 65 I retired from work, but I'm still working like as if I'm still.
But it's not really working because we don't get paid for it. But
no,
it's fun.
But it's fun, yeah. And I love giving stuff away, giving free, I don't charge people for chats.
Don't have to.
No, don't have to, no. But I've met some wonderful people doing the intimate wisdom. I've met some beautiful people, so, and I'm really grateful that they've shared their journeys too. So, yeah. Yeah, so I think that is probably about my lot. Yeah.
I shall
All right.
go.
Hang on just a minute. So we're just going to say ta-da now. And
blessings to you. Nice to meet you all again.
Yeah, and thank you for joining us on Intimate Wisdom. Okay, bye for now.